Today's episode of Wiki Sift is brought to you by the Foundation for Unnecessary Reverb.
Okay, so it did genuinely take me many years to be comfortable with my voice, and my voice may or may not have changed drastically during that time. But
yeah, I hear that.
I was listening to the beginning of the last episode where I jokingly said, none of you motherfuckers better get double cancer to one-up me next time because I got motherfucking double cancer.
How the fuck did you get double cancer? How the actual fuck? Sir, there's a vertical limit where we can't keep following you anymore on Sad Meter.
Like, that was a nuclear jinx. Like,
No, for real. If you need, I would like the end of 2024 to be the last time I have to do anything like, I want 2025 to be clean start. Tom, how is everything? Great. Let's get right to the episode. I don't want 10 minutes of intro anymore, Tom. I've learned my lesson.
At what cost? At what cost? Okay, all bullshit aside, though, are you okay?
Yes, absolutely. So I wouldn't bring it up jokingly if it was not a laughing matter. I guarantee you.
Hey, some of us laugh through the pain.
Well, okay,
and get disturbing looks at people.
Here's the reason why I'm able to laugh, because the cancer they found is less threatening than the one they found first. And literally the process went like this. I have a lump in my throat. They can't figure out what it is. Let's remove the half of the thyroid that has the lump and figure it out. Oh, it's cancer. It's thyroid cancer. Let's get back in there and remove the other half. Oh, okay. This other half looks really healthy before going in there. We've removed it just for shits and giggles. Let's take a look inside. Oh, hot damn. There's some papillary cancer going on in this motherfucker.
Jesus.
And papillary cancer, when they find it, all they do is remove it. So they found out about it after they already took care of it.
Wait.
What is your life,
so you
man?
don't have to have any more surgery?
I have no more surgery. I don't have a thyroid anymore.
They
found the cancer after taking it out.
They just got lucky and got bonus cancer. Like pulling Magic the Gathering cards.
Yesterday,
like, what's in this box? Also cancer. Oh, wow, it's so great we took that out.
No, you'll hear me laugh much more like Mark Hamill's The Joker if I'm laughing through a terminal prognosis. There will be a discernible difference. But like, I fucking swear, you guys, the joke is over. I'm done being a focal point. Let's talk about the material.
4 minutes later.
I have next to me some of my vintage video games, and I have Gen 1 Pokemon Red. Everybody talks about like little chunky Pikachu and Gen 1 Pokemon, but nobody talks about creepy, you would absolutely leave the room Gengar, but still just as chunky.
Well, Gengar has always been creepy. And also, isn't there a theory that he's actually a dead Clefairy?
Oh, I've never heard that one.
I vaguely remember hearing that in like the middle school playground. Right after my friend told me about defeating the Elite Four 4 times and then pushing the truck.
The truck thing didn't work, though. Unless you run into the truck and then you get teleported to a different game. Thank you, Stevo. Someone needed to laugh at that.
Gengar is actually just a way of pronouncing ginger wrong.
Always has
So
been.
it's the ghost of Ginger Rogers?
Ian's voice is doing something that sounds very familiar to me, and it sounds like a very famous actor, and I cannot remember what his name is. It's going to take me a minute.
No, it's the ghost of Ginger from Gilligan's Island.
Oh, I've read sexy fanfic about Gilligan's Island.
How sexy can you get?
Gilligan's Island and Pokemon are in the same continuity.
How sexy can you get with that?
Oh, with Gilligan's Island? I will have to find the episode of FNF and shill it next time.
Sexy Gilligan Pokemon crossover.
On a t-shirt.
That's the okay, yeah, go ahead, Steve.
No, I'm going to wait. Sorry, Ian, please finish your thought.
No, that was it. Sexy Gilligan Pokemon crossover.
Oh, I know what he's doing. Ian's voice sounds like the fucking Mandarin from the third Iron Man movie, the fake one.
Oh, dude.
Ben Kingsley?
Ben Kingsley?
Not Ben Kingsley, but Ben Kingsley doing something. I call me a teacher.
Oh, no.
Anyway, are we ready to start?
Born ready, motherfucker, let's go. I have no filter today.
I was under the impression we started 4 times in the last 8 minutes.
I exist on the edge.
Aloha.
Hold on, I have to set my phone to do not disturb because it's making sounds. Okay.
There's a boy over
Until we meet in the food court.
Wiki
Stay away
Sift
from-
oh wait, hold on. I actually skipped the actual thing. Okay, let me start over. Welcome to Wiki Sift, a shallow dive into pop culture and fandom. Today is our year-end update episode.
So, I think it's great. He's been doing the same spiel since season 1, episode 1. When he says, okay, let me start over, it could very well be, let me just reboot the podcast entirely. This could be how this year ends. We don't know.
Every fucking time I'm here, Stevo laughs and I gotta follow him on the laugh. It's just how it goes. And I'm just gonna follow him like, man, like I'm such a pop.
Some
Fucking
might
the
call
sidekick.
me a teacher. I need to go watch that again. Thanks for reminding me that exists. I thoroughly enjoy Iron Man 3 as a good bad movie.
Okay, that's a good bad movie. I can see that.
Yes.
Because we needed that many dick jokes.
Iron
Tommy
Man
is the evil
tweet
genius
more
white.
like Iron Man P.
Hey, Uncle Ian, tell us about the war.
Or tell a little bit about the war, a little bit of doo-doo.
Adam Sandler as the Mandarin would be fantastic.
Oh, Ian, I don't
Season's
wish
greetings from the Mandarin.
I don't wish poor health on anyone, but can you stay like this forever, please?
No, do
You
not
guys
wish
wanna
somebody
be
to
a
have a
little
migraine
bit of
forever.
Adam Sandler
You
doo-doo.
absolute monster.
Y'all see me
I'm
in
Tom,
the
he's an
movie
evil
Little
genius
Nicky
white.
Doo-doo?
And today I'm joined by...
Southern claim jumper.
Ooh, y'all want to see a little bit of Jack and Jill, a bit of that hoodoo?
It's like Adam Sandler with a concussion. Let's go. Go ahead, Tom.
That is the best form of Adam Sandler.
I'm
I
Tom,
too
he's
have
an evil
listened
genius
to
white.
what the hell
And
happened
today
to me.
I'm joined by...
I'm an Adam
This podcast.
Sandler. I like to make a movie with a David Spade and a Paul Blart Ball cop.
Tom is joined conveniently by non-destructive editing software that he is using to make us sound funny.
All right, someone please introduce themselves.
Hi, everyone. I'm Big Mike from D20 Live, and today I'm just a pile of mayhem and bullshit. Hello out there, Internet. I hope you're okay.
Hi, I'm Stevo, and I am thoroughly one with the void and would like to invite you to get your own private void. See here this very shady link with a long randomized URL at the end of it. Also, your UPS package has been delayed.
Damn, not again.
I'm Ian, and I'm here every time that there's a Star Trek. And I don't feel great today.
You're also here because we like you, despite what Mike conveys.
I don't know. I'm starting to
Fuck
like it now.
Okay, I shit you not. There is a scary correlation. I'm not going to say it's true, but there is a correlation between my mood and my partner's inverse mood. She is so happy usually when I'm utterly miserable. And it's usually not because I'm utterly miserable, but there is some crossover.
It's because when you're miserable, you're funny.
Yes, I know. So I have successfully become Al Bundy from Married with Children.
Ooh,
I
little
always
bit
knew
of
you
Al
could do it, Steve.
Bundy.
You know what? If I could end up shilling for 1-800 collect or whatever, it was 10-10-321, whatever he did. That's some nice scratch there.
Wiki Sift is a willfully ignorant fandom podcast where we don't actually directly consume media and just read what fans wrote about online. Naturally, the whole point is that we don't always know what the real deal is, and so that's why we end each year with a What Have We Learned episode about the stuff we found out after we record this year's episodes. All right.
Did we learn something new about the true crime episodes that we did? Because that was kind of something else.
Wait, are you not going to say I could find out how many spin-offs there are of Miraculous Ladybug and Cat Noir?
Okay, so let's start with Star Trek.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you remember when we were covering Crisis on Centaurus,
Nah.
What?
Nah, I don't remember that.
Give him a little refresher.
Yeah.
Put the Gaussian blur, a soft cloud.
That's the one where, among other things, a bunch of mysterious holes formed in the equipment in the Enterprise, and we never found out why. And it seemed to end on this bizarre cliffhanger where absolutely nothing was resolved. So I found out that it doesn't end on a cliffhanger. The Memory Beta article was unfinished. They just didn't finish talking about it. But there is more information on Wikipedia itself.
Oh, dang.
I found this out. While Spock attempts to disable the planetary defense computers, Captain Kirk, Mr. Sulu, and attorney Samuel T. Cogley become involved with the terrorists when the terrorist leader contacts Cogley and asks him to represent them in Federation court. Despite his personal feelings, Kirk is determined that the terrorists will get a fair trial under Federation jurisdiction, but certain individuals in the Patchwork government are equally determined that the terrorists will not leave Centaurus alive.
I have an honest question.
Yes.
What audience exists for these courtroom proceeding scenes that aren't just reading fucking bench documents? Because nobody enjoys them.
I also have a question. Tom, did you not do up a document this time so we wouldn't be able to derail things as easily as we normally do? Because that can still happen.
I mean, I can send you the document.
I mean, I also have a question.
Yeah.
Oh, this is good.
How do bugs work?
They're not, Ian. They're
Do
a
you mean
lie.
software or the insects?
They're a lie, Ian.
I mean,
all
either
bugs
one.
aren't real. Bugs aren't real, Ian. Your mother lied to you.
All right, here's the thing if you want to follow along.
I do want to follow along. I enjoy following along.
I'm still very proud of what I think the most intellectual joke I've ever made was.
I really do not want you to read ahead because I got some surprises.
Okay, fair enough. I won't read ahead. But I want my insurance policy in this
I
process.
can't read ahead because my eyes are currently covered because of the aforementioned migraine, so...
It's okay, Ian. Where we're going, you won't need eyes to see.
You just need a heart to feel.
Oh,
Okay.
you gotta have a heart of the cards, Yug.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, can somebody please do like Event Horizon but starring Yu-Gi-Oh?
Oh, I thought you were going to say, could you do Adam Sandler as Joey Wheeler? And then I was going to say,
also
"Ooh,
please
you
have
gotta
Adam
have a
Sandler be
hot-
on the
a
Event
bit of hot
Horizon.
condo."
It's the little things that keep us going, ladies and gentlemen.
I want to see Yugi explaining the wormhole with the hole punch in the hair in the paper now.
The blood-filled cascade comes out. Adam Sandler walks out. Somebody made a messy poo.
All right. So
I hate life.
While the surviving Centurion government engages in an all-out search for Kirk and party, Kirk learns that 3 more antimatter bombs are somewhere on the planet and is forced to take refuge on the one he cherishes most, the little cabin he had built in Garvik Valley on the River Farragut.
But it's Spock there.
Because that was like a thing because like Kirk happened to have like a vacation spot on this planet that they were visiting. On seeing the names Garvik and Farragut on a map, Commander Spock correctly surmises where Kirk is hiding, and a scan from orbit reveals an army of government hover cars flitting around the cabin. By leveraging the Enterprise's crippled warp drives controls, Engineer Montgomery Scott and his second-in-command succeed in enabling the Enterprise to enter the atmosphere. The government hit squad's weapons are no match for a starship's phaser set on stun. The captured terrorists are taken in custody, but the secret of cheap antimatter synthesis is lost. Its creator was the suicide bomber who set the first weapon off. In the epilogue, Spock traces the computer malfunction to a quantum black hole accidentally forming against all odds within the Enterprise in warp, drilling a hole straight through a good part of the computer memory banks. That's why there were holes drilled everywhere. A quantum black hole just randomly spawned inside the Enterprise while it was in warp.
Yeah, you see there, what you need to do is just get a can of tomato sauce, pour it all over, and just do you real good right there.
Now listen, I understand that we kind of glazed over the antimatter thing because that is fucking baffling and ridiculous. Baffling? But I do want to go back to the antimatter thing. Listen, why would the terrorists, if there was one guy, just one guy who knew this secret to cheap antimatter synthesis, why the fuck would they strap a bomb to him and say, go kill yourself? That seems like a counterproductive idea.
Isn't it already cheap to produce antimatter in Star Trek, or do I just not have how that works?
I don't know. This is still TOS, so I don't know if they developed that later or what.
Star Trek, the terms of service.
But yeah, like Ian even made a joke that was going to turn out to be something stupid like space termites, and I think even stupider than space termites is like, oh yeah, sometimes a black hole just forms in the middle of your engine. It happens.
Yeah, the idea that any sort of black hole formed inside the ship and it didn't immediately destroy it is displaying a remarkable lack of understanding of literally anything.
Star Trek. We don't know how science works, but we somehow inspire scientists.
Well, the novels are kind of a different beast than the show, although the show is not always that smartly written either. Also, I noticed this on the memory beta page under other references. There are some like point forms here that kind of jump out at me. Centurion Black Apple, Centurion Flapjack, Centurion Tree Turtle, Centurion Werebear.
Centurion Flapjack is the name of my boat if I ever get one.
And Centurion Woodscat. And then just a point
I'm
on
sorry,
this list.
Centurion Woodscat? Like somebody just took a wooden shit?
No. Officially, I'm changing my name legally to Centurion Flapjack. That's my name.
I'm imagining like a woodpecker that's doing like freestyle scat. Like, if I can do it, so can you.
Yeah, the thing is, I can't do it.
And
I refuse to do it for financial reasons.
And just a single bullet point that says Operation Razzle Dazzle.
Finally!
That fills me with joy.
It's just the complete lack of context behind that. I love that.
Ooh, we gotta do a little bit of Operation Razzle Dazzle. Ooh.
So, okay, the other book, Dreadnought, the one that we completely lost every ounce of our sanity reading through.
Was that the one with the fucking Lindy Hop or whatever?
Yeah. So, to start with,
this feels like years ago now.
I know, this was this year. Stevo got bingo on that one. He was the first to get bingo, but I kind of looked into it. I think we all would have gotten bingo if we...
So what you're saying is I didn't win.
You did win.
No,
you're
saying
like,
I didn't. It's fine, Tom. It's okay.
Like, if we go just by chronological order, like who got bingo first, you did. But if we count it as like this book, like how many did this book trigger? It would have triggered bingo for all three of us. Because first of all, I think Piper counts as a Mary Sue. Because she's a new character who impresses everyone in the Academy so much that they assign her to the Enterprise. And her boyfriend turns out to be the bad guy, but he loves her and wants her to join him. And that's when she's accused of being an accomplice to the terrorists, but she easily breaks out of her cell, and then everyone decides to help her for no reason. And the book ends with her getting the Congressional Medal of Valor and then going on a romantic getaway with Kirk. This is firmly Mary Sue territory.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah.
Was she the one who also cheated at the Kobayashi Maru?
Yes.
And like Captain Kirk was like, oh wow, she's really good at cheating.
Yeah, but she like overloaded the computer with a tricorder, and that's how she cheated, and everyone's like, oh, well done.
Ah, yes, well done. You broke the fucking computer. Good job.
Today, I will instruct you how to make a wet computer out of StrongPad's computer.
Apply Wibbly.
We're kind of forgetting that the point of the Kobayashi Maru is for you to accept that sometimes there is a no-win situation. But
Right.
yeah, you know what? Whatever. Just destroy the computer and you win.
Yeah. And like Kirk didn't destroy it the first time. Like he ran the simulation multiple times because he was determined to find a way to beat it. So like he already like got the point of the exercise.
Yeah, and more to the point is he didn't end up destroying the fucking computer. He just cheated.
Well done.
Anyway, but
Well done.
yeah, also since they decommissioned the Star Empire at the end of the story, that was the giant dreadnought that's supposed to be able to conquer the entire
The Death
galaxy.
Star.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Since they decommissioned it at the end of the story, we can count it as one-time miracle technology. So that's 2 other bingo squares that would have given victory to both Ian and myself. So yeah, Stevo still wins that we called his winning square first. But if we count it only on book by book basis, this book is bingo for all 3 of us at the same time. Oh, by the way, I bought the book.
Oh no.
And because I wanted to see what's up with this this bunny hop thing, and if it's as stupid as it sounds, and it's pretty stupid. A diversion was Scanner's idea. Merede said, I might be able to drug them somehow. There's a more subtle way. I stood up and stretched my legs. We can walk down the hall and slug them. And then it just cuts to nani nani na 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 nani nani na na hop hop hop. And but here's the part that I love right after that. It says the hard part wasn't thinking of it or deciding who would indispose which guard or keeping in character in spite of the security guards' expressions when they saw 4 fully commissioned Starfleet officers doing the bunny hop down the corridor toward them. The hard part was teaching a Vulcan how to do a dance step.
Ow. Stupid.
You see, because dancing relies on emotions for some reason, so...
But the fact is, like, the fact that she thought, hey, we should distract them by doing the bunny hop, and then they had to actually teach the dance to them. like you couldn't have come up with any other distraction. Like, she was really dead set on this very specific dance from the 1950s.
Yeah, here's an idea. Why didn't they just run to the hallway and start, like, waving their arms and going, blah, 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 blah. That would be just as effective.
Yeah, or like fall to the ground and fake a seizure or something, and when they're like, what do we do? Then you like knock them out.
Everyone just shit your pants. Whatever.
I'm gonna put a little doo-doo in my pants.
Can we stop? Oh my.
I gotta do a little bit of that doo-doo.
Oh my gosh.
My God, he shit his pants.
That they taught the bunny hop to a Vulcan. Like, what is this book?
Here's the thing. I don't believe that Spock can't dance. I think he chooses to do the dumbest dances in the universe in his room. And he lies to them so that he can privately laugh at how they try to teach him.
I mean, it's not Spock in this specific instance, but it's a different Vulcan. But yes.
Who gives a fuck?
Okay, so...
I emotionally can't get over the doo-doo comments. Please hold the train.
What a matter, Stevo? Can a little bit of doo-doo?
Do I want to go into the fighting games thing? I just noticed that we talked about Shaq Fu during the fighting game lore episode, but we didn't really get into it.
And I think that's you bastard.
I think that's because I already did a video about Shaq Fu where I like made fun of the entire game's premise, and I'm just like retreading old stuff, but I'm like, I should have talked to John about it because if he wasn't familiar with it, I wanted him to know. So how familiar are you guys with Shaq Fu's lore?
Listen, I know all about how Shaq went into the back room of some old Asian man's business and then suddenly transported to an alternate world to find some child.
Yes, that is true.
I feel like Shaq's manager paid for an immersive experience for him that went horribly, horribly wrong.
I know nothing.
I also think it's really funny that if you like look at the cutscene where this happens and he like pulls open the curtain to the back room, there's no visible portal there. It just shows like a bunch of old boxes and stuff. So he just like walks into this old storage room and then all of a sudden he's in like the second world.
Well, no, he walks in there and then the boxes are full of little puppets and he just does a puppet show.
Yeah.
So you could say that this is the Lion, the Witch, and the O'Neill.
Like, it's not like it's a live action movie where they just didn't have the budget to do the special effects. It's a video game. They could have drawn a portal, but they just draw a bunch of old boxes. Like this is the second world, kids.
Have you ever considered that maybe a portal looks like a bunch of old boxes, you piece of shit? Come on.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen a portal in real life? No, you haven't. So shut up.
So one of the parts of the lore is that there's this creature called the Beast. And in the manual...
tale as old as time, song as old as rhyme.
Yeah.
Shaquille and the Beast.
Bucky and the Steve.
I feel like they just borrowed this from Mortal Kombat because I remember like in the manual to Mortal Kombat under Raiden's description it said age eternal. I think they wanted to add that kind of mystique to the Beast for some reason and they put his age as eternal, except if you like read Set Ra's bio, it says that he created Beast from his shadow. So if he created him, he's not immortal. Like, he had a beginning.
Tom, do yourself a favor.
Mm-hmm.
Never look up Digimon lore.
You know that we're going to do a Digimon episode eventually.
I've been informed that one is just like a character made entirely out of guns.
And then it evolves into a refrigerator.
Because if that cooks your head, Millennium Mon will literally fry it like an egg.
Digimon a doo-doo.
What else with the fighting games episode, or was it only Shaq Fu?
That's the only thing I wanted to touch on.
That is the kind of passive banality carried on by people who know nothing about the BlazBlue lore.
Okay, let's get to the Batman and Spider-Man stuff. I want to talk about Penny Plunderer, specifically the image that we've all been laughing at.
Pennies.
Now, so I noticed something about this image. You notice the words pennies seem to be like on top of the little like the starburst or whatever, like radiating
Are the
around.
pennies talking?
So like it just looks like
What are the pennies saying to you, honey?
Oh, it's a Pokemon.
Pennies. Pennies.
Pennies.
it just kind of looked like a bad edit to me. So I'm like, is this like taken from the comic or what? So I did some digging and I found out that this image that we're looking at is a fan creation.
Oh,
But what it is
Wiki had bad citations?
is they didn't draw this. They made an amalgamation of different panels in the comic. So like I found the original comic and looked through it and I found this like guy's amazing
and
face.
then Coin makes his vow.
Okay,
when I get
pennies.
out, I'll get back at coppers and pennies. I'll fight coppers with pennies. Every job I pull will involve pennies. My crime symbol will be pennies.
Pennies.
Coin's hand comes out of his pocket with all the coins he is carrying. 5 cents, but in pennies.
That monster!
There's only like 2 ways that you could be carrying 5 cents.
Not if you count
One of those is
pennies.
plural. So he's carrying coins of 5 cents.
But in pennies.
It's only pennies. It's not a twist. It's a logical end to that sentence.
Now wait a minute though. That's not expressly true, because what if you had a copy of Shaq Fu in your pocket? That would also be the equivalent of 5
then
cents.
you would have a denomination of negative value.
Oh, that's true.
Oh, goodness. So then, like, if you could value a person, could you, like, shed off enough skin to make a nickel?
Maybe.
So
This is getting dark fast.
anyway, so yeah, some fan
Oh,
took
Jesus.
took this one image of him screaming in prison and this other image of a close-up of his hands and just like photoshopped them together on a picture of his body to create this fantastic image. And I gotta give kudos to whoever did this, because this is the greatest image.
How long have we stared at this image of the Penny Plunderer and never noticed that it's that badly photoshopped? Because I can't unsee it now.
I just thought it was a bad transfer.
You know what, though? You know who he looks like? John Aston. He's a dead fucking ringer for John Aston.
I didn't see it until you mentioned it.
Oh yeah, I had to look up who John Aston is, but but yeah, I recognize him now.
Gomez from the 60s Addams Family. Now listen, while we're talking about Batman, since I wasn't invited to this episode, may I tell you guys about the shittiest possible Batman villain? Because I found it, and he's worse than the Penny Plunderer. Listen, it's the Pied Piper of Peril.
Wait, there's another Pied Piper? How many Pied Pipers are there?
There are at
A lot.
least 2 Pied Pipers in DC continuity. This character has appeared one time ever and never again, and it's because he was that fucking lame.
Because, okay,
Kinda
the
like
Pied
that.
Piper that we covered is the one who owned a pipe shop in Gotham, and he committed crimes using pipes, and he could turn pipes into any kind of weapon, which I thought was pretty stupid. But I did notice that in the DC Wiki, it had Pied Piper and in brackets 2 to show that there's another one. The other one didn't seem that interesting.
There's multiple Pied Pipers, and the Pied Piper of Peril is different from those guys. I think we might be talking about the same guy, but I've actually read the comic he's in, and it is beyond fucking stupid.
Am I gonna have to retool the tournament bracket again?
Maybe.
Let me read to you some of my choice observations from when I read this, okay?
Oh, you got it handy?
Yeah, I have it pulled up right here. I have it. The Pied Piper, not to be confused with several similarly named characters from DC Comics, is a criminal obsessed with all kinds of pipes. And when I say all kinds, I mean literally anything with the word pipe in it. He and his henchmen pull a bank job by, I shit you not, walking into the bank with corncob pipes in their mouths, which are actually gas spraying devices when turned the other way. Later, the Piper gets the upper hand on Batman by hitting him with a fucking lead pipe.
It's a little anticlimactic, isn't it?
No one's ever thought to use that on Batman before.
He robs a jewelry store with a blowpipe filled with poison darts. At one point, he's robbing a wealthy Scotsman with bagpipes. They're on a rooftop and Batman has him cornered, but he escapes by grabbing onto a drain pipe, which snaps loose and somehow doesn't make him just fall to the ground and break his bones.
I think you are talking about the same Pied Piper, because this sounds
This might be the same guy that you were talking about, which surprises me because the last time I looked at the DC Wiki, this guy was not mentioned. Because again, he appeared
are we experiencing one of those
time.
Mandela effects I've heard so much about?
Well, there's a DC Wiki and there's also a Batman Wiki. And
Yeah, I may have only seen the one then. Because
Yeah.
I know on one of them, this guy was not mentioned. I had to look this up myself.
But yeah, you did answer a question that I had, like, because I was very curious about, like, in the entry, it just says he could turn any type of pipe into a weapon. I'm like, does he specifically mean smoking pipes, or does it mean anything that could be considered a pipe?
No, his gimmick is that fucking stupid. It's literally anything with the word pipe in it.
So you mean if I handed him a mini disc player that had Weezer's hash pipe on it,
He would be able to use that as a sonic weapon or something, yes. But here's the thing, though. It's not as though he has some special power. It's that he's so stupid that the writers have to convolute some way for shit to work for him. Listen, I'm not done with this. There's still more here, and it gets dumber.
All right, Batman, I'll come along peacefully. Just allow me this one indulgence and let me play you out on my pipe organ.
Pipe organ rolls down the streets on a shitty cart.
Every time he hits a note, it fires a bullet out of the pipes.
Batman, you've caught me with my pants down. Literally, because I'm laying pipe onto the mayor's wife right now. No,
Batman,
listen.
you know what? I think we got off on the wrong foot. I'd like to apologize to you. Meet me in Pipe, Wisconsin.
Did you just look up to find a city named Pipe and what existed?
Of course I did, Tom!
That's amazing.
They momentarily lose him while chasing him until Batman remembers there's a massive sewer pipe running through the area, which is, of course, how he escaped. They chase him to an abandoned amusement park and find him at the top of a roller coaster, but he gets away by laying down on a piece of wood across two pipes and rolling down the tracks on it. Like, they're just making shit up that doesn't make sense, and it works because they have to make this stupid gimmick work.
Okay, I need to refresh my memory about whether we voted for Pied Piper or the other guy.
This is where he hits Batman with a lead pipe, then ties him to a heavy length of water pipe from the canal and drops him in the water of the Tunnel of Love.
You think this was just a dare in the editor in the writing room? Just like, I bet you can't make a character whose entire gimmick is around the word pipe. You're fucking on,
I think
dude.
cocaine's a hell of a drug.
That's gotta be my guess. It only gets dumber. The thrilling conclusion is it involves the mother of all pipes, the world's largest pipe organ, Tom called it, constructed as an ad gimmick at the Gotham Civic Center. The Pied Piper's devious scheme: fill the pipes with knockout gas so that when the huge crowd that's come to see it hears the first note, they'll all pass out and he and his thugs can steal their jewels. However, Batman beats the bad guys and the Piper leaps down one of the organ pipes. They follow the now injured Piper to his secret hideout in an old mine shaft. They corner him, but he whips out a smoking pipe and warns that if they take another step, he will ignite the poisonous mixture in it, killing them all. He then blunders backwards into an old stovepipe, knocks it loose, and I shit you not, chokes on the soot that falls out. That's how he's defeated. He walks backwards, knocks a pipe loose from a fucking stove, and chokes on soot.
I don't think I put him in a bracket. I think he was one of the honorable mentions, and now I'm regretting that. There's so many dumb Batman villains.
There really are. You go back to the 40s and the 50s and just look at these one-off characters that you never saw again, and they're all the dumbest fucking idea anyone has ever had. There are so many that are like this, where it's you read it and you're like, I want those 15 minutes back. This was a waste of precious time that I could have spent on the toilet or something. That would be a better use of my time than reading about this fucking idiot who's so obsessed with the word pipe.
Now I'm imagining them putting out a Batman comic where the entire comic is just Batman sitting on the toilet reading a newspaper, and it's just like 80 panels of that. And then at the end is an editor's note, you should see our other idea for what we're gonna do.
That just reminds me that I once had an idea. So this is a weird offside tangent, but I'll make it quick. There was the same people who did Mr. Magoo, UPA. They did a Dick Tracy cartoon for TV in the 60s. But here's the thing. Dick Tracy was barely fucking in it. Here's how it worked. The chief would call Dick Tracy up on his video wristwatch and tell him, like, uh-oh, Pruneface and Mumbles are on the prowl again. They're about to rob the First National Bank. And Dick Tracy would go, all right, thanks, Chief. I'll get right on it. Then Tracy would call some made-up detective character that UPA made, give them the mission, and then we would cut to them for almost the entire rest of the episode. Halfway through, they would get a call from Dick Tracy, and they'd go, oh, don't worry, Dick, we're almost done. And then at the end, Dick Tracy shows up and takes all the credit. And now, I was laughing my ass off watching this in college, and I thought to myself, you know what I would really like to do? I would love to do a webcomic that's just the 60s Dick Tracy cartoon, but from Dick Tracy's perspective. So it starts with him getting the call and then passing it off onto the other guy, and then the rest of the comic is him, like, folding a piece of paper into an airplane and throwing it across the room, reading a newspaper. Then he gets to call, how you doing?
Honestly, that's a nice analogy for John Williams these days. John Williams, can you spare 8 notes? All right, good. You've given us the melody. We'll create the rest of the soundtrack.
What? Really?
Oh, yeah.
By the way, if you couldn't tell, I'm feeling better now. I'm over my
tummy. Your energy seems to be the positive voodoo I was working on this little doll here finally took effect.
You're giving a little tiny Ian doll very tiny kisses.
No, what I did was I took my electric toothbrush and put it on the puppet Ian's neck and just treated it like a massager to try to soothe the tension out of his neck. Because I also suffer from migraines.
And you found that voodoo toothbrushes is the best solution.
That's why I felt my bowels relax.
Well, that's the bonus you paid for. Regardless, how much more is there in that? Because I do want to finish that, like, post-haste.
Oh, the Batman thing? We'll finish it in the new year.
I'm so sad. I can't look forward to talking about the pennies as much anymore.
Oh, can I just say that I started doing the eraser thing on my daughter? I put my head in like her tummy when she's like lying down and just go. She thinks it's hilarious.
Oh! One more Batman aside from me. It's going to be a lot shorter because I don't really know much about this character, but I was looking through stupid Batman characters on my own. Did you guys mention Boomerang Killer?
Boomerang Killer?
There was a boomerang related character I know that was talked about.
Named just like Boomerang Killer.
No, I don't know this guy.
It's this bizarre fucking thing. All I know is that Boomerang Killer was like Bruce Wayne secretly had an older brother, but like, ooh, he was fucked up, so his parents set him away somewhere. And then somehow, like, he comes back to Gotham and he's like, inexplicably is like a guy who murders people with boomerangs. And there's a picture of him on this wiki, and if I remember right, he kind of looks like Bruce Wayne, but he's like wearing a fucking apron and he's got boomerangs.
You're just describing Yahoo Serious.
Yeah, and like the Joker said, Yahoo Serious, Batman.
So before we move on to the next thing, I want to go on a little bit of a tangent about Dick Tracy. Did you guys hear about what Warren Beatty did?
Yes.
It's because it's amazing.
I'm sorry. Refresh my memory.
Okay, so in I think it's the 80s. They did a Dick Tracy movie with Warren Beatty, who played Dick Tracy.
Yes, I have seen it.
Yeah, and he also directed it.
That I wasn't familiar with.
Yeah, so here's the thing.
Didn't it have Madonna in it too?
I don't remember. Yep.
Okay.
So he had a contract made so that if they do another Dick Tracy movie, he has to be the director and starring actor or something akin to that.
He kept the rights to being able to make the next movie was what it was. And no studio wanted to have him do it because the first one didn't like make a blockbuster hit.
So like the studios expressed interest in getting the rights to do Dick Tracy, but Warren Beatty wouldn't let them have the rights unless he could do it, and they wouldn't let him do it. And so to hold on to the rights, he has periodically done like a TV special on television to just
TCM were the ones who were letting him do these, by the by. Yeah, Turner Classic Movies.
So like I guess the way it works is as long as you produce some content of it and release it, then you can hold on to the rights. So he put out a TV special like every like 10 years or so. And
now when you say special, you're talking about actual content and not just like bookending an episode of Tales from the Crypt, correct?
Oh no, it's worse than that.
Oh no.
It's basically he dresses up as Dick Tracy and sits down to like an interview with Leonard Maltin, and they just talk for 2 hours, and it's on like a TV station that nobody even watches, and this counts enough for him to hold on to the rights, and he just does it every so often to hold on to the rights, and that's why nobody has made a Dick Tracy movie in 40 years.
Specifically, they air them at like 2 a.m. on TCM, and they only air them like one time ever. But the funniest thing to me is that he's actually, because of the last one he did, he retains the rights until Dick Tracy becomes public domain now. Also, I've posted the picture of Boomerang Killer.
I certainly hope we live long enough to see that catastrophe.
Oh, that is amazing. That is the boomerang. That's a hammer. My dude.
Yeah, he doesn't even have a boomerang in the picture.
Okay, there's one last thing that I wanted to do for tonight. One of my patrons, Spectre Cohen, wrote his own Star Trek novel in the format that we did and said, hey, do you guys want to read this? And I, of course, said yes.
Oh, hey, so apparently, sorry, didn't mean to interrupt, but there will be some Dick Tracy content in 2027. Because the first...
Is that when it becomes public domain?
Yeah, that's when the comic strip becomes public domain. And so as long as you're not using any MyOC Do Not Steal from Beatty's masterpiece quotation marks, you should be fine.
I can't wait for the inevitable Dick Tracy horror movie that comes after anything.
Oh, you mean like the fucking Winnie the Pooh shit?
Yeah. Like what has happened with literally any big name thing that goes public domain. The first fucking thing you hear day one is, oh my God, I'm gonna make the horror version.
Yeah.
I can absolutely see The Asylum presents Dick Tracy American Psycho.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Okay, if you're listening, Asylum, don't listen to that. I don't want to give them ideas.
I wasn't gonna, but now I'm gonna.
That's the voice of Asylum? Nah, I'm gonna. Me want honeycomb.
The Asylum was a monster kicked out of where the wild things are.
I love the idea of the CEO of Asylum being a cereal mascot.
Oh,
that would explain a lot.
You work your way up to the top of the Asylum Industries tower or whatever, wave after wave of Double Dragon-esque style enemies behind you. You get up to the presidential suite. Suddenly the chair turns around and it's fucking Tombgus.
Okay, so Spectre Cohen says to me, I really hope you pre-read this, Tom. I did not. I did not do any due diligence on this. If this is horribly inappropriate, then we're gonna have to cut this whole thing out, but I decide I'm going to trust you that this would be a really good surprise. This book is called The Gates of Eternity's Precipice. And as soon as I saw the title, I'm like, okay, this is going to be good. All right. The Gates of Eternity Precipice is a Star Trek novel written by Diane Duane and Peter Morwood, released in November 1989.
In the nebular heart of the neutral zone, the Cold War between the Romulans and Federation turns hot. In a desperate battle between the Enterprise and a Romulan warbird, an experimental weapon rips open the fabric of space-time that sucks in both ships. The crews find themselves scattered through time and space, jumping wildly between their own past and future lives. There's only one way to save the Enterprise, the Federation, and the entire universe. Captain Kirk and his friends must face their greatest foes, themselves. To go where no man has gone before, to step beyond the gates of eternity's precipice, only on Toonami. I just realized I was doing that voice.
I would like to point out that there is actually a Dick Tracy villain named Public Domain.
Wow.
Which tracks.
No, I'm more concerned. I'm sorry. I'm more concerned by the fact that the thumbnail for this article about Public Domain indicates that either he is talking to someone whose name is Nitrates.
He is talking to somebody whose name is Nitrates. Silver Nitrates, to be exact.
I was going to say either that or like he's like, "Ah, Nitrates, it's good to finally meet you." In which
Get
case,
in me. I need to process you.
Well, Nitrates is just like his catchphrase.
yeah, that's what I mean. Like,
Nitrates.
Nitrates.
Yeah, I remember once my dad told me about someone he knew named Dan Keaton, and I just thought that sounds like an expression. It's like, you doing okay? Dan Keaton,
Dan
I am.
Keaton, I am, yeah.
That sounds so damn Canadian. I'm sorry.
Why is that so Canadian?
It just really sounds like a Canadian phrase.
Oh yeah, I'm Dan Keaton.
It's like something that would be in an episode of Letterkenny.
It sounds southern to me, but anyway. All right, so summary. Stardate 9106.7. The Enterprise is ordered to patrol the border of Neutral Zone as diplomatic discussions between the Federation and Romulan Empire break down. Kirk is urgently called to the bridge to take command and is told that the Enterprise has picked up space contrails that have the signature of a Romulan warbird. Space contrails.
Well, The Onion now technically owns InfoWars, so hopefully we'll get some funnier content from that. Oh, I'm sorry. Those are chemtrails. My mistake.
Same thing, just different term.
Yeah, chemtrails is just what idiots who don't understand science call contrails. So,
at that moment, a warbird uncloaks directly in front of the Enterprise. Kirk orders red alert, but the warbird immediately recloaks and flies into a nebula in the middle of the neutral zone. Kirk decides to pursue the warbird.
That's the Romulan equivalent of like a drive-by pantsing to just decloak, fuck you, recloak.
Captain, we're being hailed, and it's just a middle finger.
Wait a minute, sir, I detect the presence of pressed hams in this transmission.
It's like the Romulan turned around like backwards with his arms twisted around him like he's making out with a fake person. Oh, Kirk, I'm kissing your mother.
this is the Star Trek version of Space Kataz then.
This is Operation Razzle Dazzle.
Dude, they were mooning us!
That is 100% what I was thinking of. I'm very glad somebody got the reference to Space Kataz.
Hello, this is
Arnold Brown.
This is
Spiker.
Mr. Brown.
Damn it, they hung up again!
Damn it!
Kirk decides to pursue the warbird, but Sulu warns Kirk that this may be a trap and that they should call for backup.
It may be a trap, sir.
Call for backup.
Okay, Ian, would you like to hear something, darling?
Absolutely.
I was saying goodnight to Xavier 2 days ago, giving him a real nice, long goodnight hug. And I pull away from him and he looks me in the eyes and he goes, do.
I just had
He literally started saying the system is down after that.
I just had that pop into my head like 2 or 3 days ago. When was this that's happened? Did your son psychically transmit that song to me?
I think it was on Tuesday night, actually.
That is 2 days ago. This is very interesting. Anyway.
Oh my gosh, this is not how you're starting the Ghostbusters movie we're in, Tom. Continue on with your agenda.
Sulu warns Kirk that this may be a trap and that they should call for backup. Kirk replies that Starfleet ordered immediate pursuit of any Romulan vessel found breaking neutrality and orders Uhura to hail other Starfleet ships to inform them of their position and situation as they fly into the nebula. Once the Enterprise is inside of the nebula, they lose all communication with the rest of the fleet. 5 Romulan warbirds uncloak, completely surrounding the Enterprise. Kirk is hailed by the flagship's captain, an old nemesis of his named Drek, who is described as looking like...
Excuse me, that's Drek.
Yes, Drek.
See, I'm not hearing the second here.
Okay, Drek, who is described as looking like the Romulan version of Burton Reynolds.
I detect sexiness.
I like to imagine that the actual text in the book we're referencing just says, his old nemesis, Drek, who looks like Romulan version of Burt Reynolds.
Every time someone talks about Burt Reynolds, though, I just immediately picture the Norm Macdonald version of Burt Reynolds on Celebrity Jeopardy.
That's the way it should be.
Every time I think of Norm Macdonald, I think of Kevin McDonald when he appeared on Johnny Bravo, and he just goes, "Hi, I'm Kevin McDonald from Canada."
He's a good guy.
Yeah.
Robert Blake, he's a good guy. Anyway, Derek angrily accuses the Enterprise of invading Romulan space. It's the neutral zone. He and Kirk get into a bitter, lengthy argument about space geopolitics. Derek pissed
Guys,
off
it's Thanksgiving. Don't do that.
Pissed off when Kirk insults Romulan.
Romulanksgiving.
Okay, Derek pissed off when Kirk insults Romulan pre-consul DePepis' bowl cut, orders his crew to fire. He orders his crew to fire this synchronicity cannon, an experimental weapon that uses dark matter to negate the Enterprise's light matter, and thus completely annihilating it. However, the cannon misfires and instead sets the nebula on fire.
I love the science of a nebula in space burning.
Okay, I don't know enough about science. Like,
from The
a nebula is
Simpsons-
made of gas, right? If the gas is hydrogen, maybe?
Yeah, but there
don't
has
know.
to be air for fire to burn. Which is why I'm reminded of that bit from The Simpsons where they're watching that B movie, The Planet from Space, and they get the hole in the hull and they go, "Oh no, poisonous space air." Goggles on, everybody. Snap. Oh, that's better.
It sets the nebula on fire, creating a space-time anomaly that engulfs all of the ships. Before the Enterprise is sucked into the anomaly, Kirk briefly finds himself sitting on the bridge of the Warbird, his hands on the fire button. Fire button? I'm just imagining him with a big joystick.
It is an Atari 2600 joystick specifically.
As he looks down at his hand, he notices that he somehow has become a Romulan. The novel then breaks into a frantic series of vignettes as each member of the crew finds himself in a different time, inhabiting a body that isn't their own. Spock finds himself in the body of his own father, Sarek, who is in the middle of a bitter argument with Amanda Grayson over how they will raise their newborn son. In the middle of their argument, Amanda suddenly becomes confused and disoriented, as if something in her had reset. Spock questions her and discovers that somehow her body has been taken over by Uhura. They ponder what has happened to them and the fate of the rest of the crew. Kirk and Spotty find themselves in the bodies of two Klingon officers on a bird of prey that is falling apart. Scotty, yes?
Tom, I'm sorry, but I just had the worst possible thought.
Oh no.
As they realize that they're in the bodies of Spock's parents, Spock says, "You know, I have always wanted a brother."
Let's name him Michael Burnham.
The implication being that they're gonna fuck in his parents' bodies.
Well, thank you for that wonderful imagery.
I told you it was bad. I prefaced it. I warned you. I told you I'd shoot, but you didn't believe me. Why didn't you believe me?
Did you recently watch Being John Malkovich? Because
I've actually never watched Being John Malkovich, so...
It is a trip.
All I know about that movie is that they used to show it on Comedy Central a lot back in the early 2000s.
Do you know the basic premise?
Isn't it like there's some magical portal that lets people become John Malkovich?
Yeah.
Oh, so Jesus, this is what I came back to? Really?
There's a door in someone's office in the middle of like this big office building, and if you walk through the door, you enter into John Malkovich's brain and become him from the inside for about like 10 minutes or something, and then you're just ejected into some highway somewhere. So there's like a whole thing where one person jumps into John Malkovich's body so he can have sex with his wife as John Malkovich. So it gets really weird.
Oh, God, no.
It's a trip. I saw it when I was like 15.
It's one of the more unusual movies I've seen, and it's very entertaining. So now where were we?
Kirk and Scotty find themselves in the bodies of two Klingon officers, was where we were.
Mike, do you want to read some of this?
I think I got better and it transferred the sickness to Mike. Now Mike's not feeling good.
I didn't do that.
Stevo, you want to read?
All right, where are we?
Oh, yeah, I guess you did leave for a few minutes.
Yes, I did.
So, Kirk follows a Romulan warbird into a nebula, and he finds 5 like warbirds surrounding him, and they fire like a synchronicity cannon, which is supposed to negate the matter of the Enterprise, but instead it sets the whole nebula on fire, and then it turns everyone into...
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's really home improvement of you, Star Trek.
Okay, Meredith Burgess.
Tell me again.
No,
what ship do you serve on? The USS.
The USS Binford.
So they've all been transferred into other people's bodies at this point. Spock and Uhura become Spock's parents for some reason. And
all right, somebody has issues with their parents.
Kirk and Scotty find themselves in the bodies of 2 Klingon officers.
See it. On a bird of prey that is falling apart. Scotty tries to explain to Kirk in a heavily Scottish accented Klingon that a time warp is occurring, explaining that, like how the warp drive warps space-time around the ship, something has inverted the effect, warping space-time inside of their bodies. Oh, I
Of
can
course.
finally
I'm
embrace
sorry,
my
I'm
inner
just-
child again.
I'm just stuck on Scottish accent and Klingon. I'm trying to picture it and I can't.
The rolling R's just never stop.
Och, I kaploch.
That's what it sounds like. And you have to be careful because any elongated conversations, you could flood the place.
Jichoch. Nidong.
At l'chaim to you too, Rabbi.
You know, Klingon and Hebrew, some very key similarities in those languages.
Yeah, I've been made aware. Anyways, where was I? Something about a Scottish accented Klingon. Oh, right. As the ship begins to break apart, another time warp occurs. Well, I mean, let's do the time warp again, obviously.
Yeah.
Scattering-
Trio.
Boy, I miss doing Rocky Horror shadow casting. That was a fun time in my life. Scattering the crew.
Wait. It's Burgess Meredith, isn't it? I got the names backwards.
Yes, Burgess Meredith and Rocky Horror. You're absolutely right. Scattering.
When the penguin. Time warp again.
You know, I was going to try and steamroll that, but that idea was too good for even me to ignore it.
That's just a jump to the left.
Yeah, Burgess Meredith was Frank.
We live in
wasn't
an
he?
era of questionable content generation. At the very least, I would really like to see Burgess Meredith as a character in Rocky Horror Picture Show. Make him Brad. That's what you should pitch today, Tom. I'm co-opting the pitch right now. Just leave us a review. You could just tell us what your dream cross-casting is for the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Who else would you cast besides Burgess Meredith?
Everyone else is Adam Sandler.
Oh, fuck no.
Well, instead of Susan Sarandon, I would obviously cast Christopher Walken.
I would like to continue living. Ian.
Step to the wide. Ooh.
The perspective then shifts to Bones, who finds himself at the 1987 San Diego Comic-Con. Very specific.
Oh, no.
Bones, entirely overwhelmed and looking for a drink, runs into that year's guest of honor, Harlan Ellison. Ellison compliments Bones' Starfleet uniform, saying that he looks just like the real thing.
Already calling bullshit. Harlan Ellison should be trying to sucker punch him immediately.
This confuses Bones even more. After stumbling around the convention center for another 25 pages, he eventually gives up trying to find a drink and settles for a hot dog from one of those sketchy grills that are outside every event venue in Southern California. I assure you that the hot dog man of downtown Towson is a darling, and I love him very much. There he finally finds Kirk and Spock, who are just as confused and distressed.
But are these like different people in the bodies of Kirk and Spock?
Or are these just cosplayers of Kirk and Spock who he's mistaken for the real people?
They discuss their situation and trade stories of their previous bodies. That's kind of ew. I don't know. The way that's worded kind of rubs me a little awkwardly. There's a subsection of tube galore that I'm sure is dedicated to this fantasy. While Bones had been stuck at the convention hall this entire time, the rest of the crew had undergone an average of 6 different time. That's a lot of fucking time warps.
That's just
Bones believes that the universe is being torn apart as their jumps are getting faster and faster. Spock agrees that this is logical. Of course he fucking does.
Which is the magical word to make anything possible. Just have Spock say it's logical, whether it is or isn't.
So I need a copy of that meme where it's not Bart, but it's Spock sitting in the middle of the classroom where the rest of the USS Enterprise is staring at him while the ship is on fire. And Spock looks on.
Say the line, Spock.
Exactly. Say the line. It's logical.
That's logical. That seems logical, Captain.
And he just raises a single eyebrow at all of them.
And states that if they do not find the solution, eventually the time warp will reach a singularity moment when they will inhabit all bodies in the universe at once, causing space-time to implode and Eminem's 8 Mile to no longer make sense.
I was going to say, eventually the time warp will bring everyone from every point in time in the entire universe to the 1987 San Diego Comic-Con.
You mean even Gary in accounting? I don't want to be in there with him.
Oh, that fucking guy. Yeah, Jesus Christ. I hate getting trapped with him by the water cooler. He's always talking about his fucking fetishes. And it's like, bro, there's a time and a place to talk about your African dolls.
And you do not need to be mixing in that conversation with asking me how my Rosh Hashanah went. Spock begins to explain a possible solution when suddenly another time warp occurs. Kirk finds himself on Bajor, naked in a bed with a beautiful Bajoran woman smoking a photon cigarette.
Photon cigarette.
Reinhardt Lane. If anybody gets that reference, I'll give you $1.
I got The Shadow with Alec Baldwin.
Oh my gosh, you all are getting dollars.
I love that movie.
I don't get $1.
Oh, it's fun. Oh, we should indoctrinate you. The 1994 Shadow movie is fantastic and has the coolest taxi in existence. Driven by Peter fucking Boyle of all people.
The coolest taxi in existence is the TV show Taxi, starring the inimitable Mr. Danny DeVito.
Ow. Ow. I think I might have gotten a permanent facial tick from how you just said his name. Somebody else read for a minute, please. Ow.
Yeah, that's the show where Tony Danza played his very first Tony, right?
After some awkward pillow talk, the woman reveals that she is
Gesundheit. I really hope your allergies clear up, Ian. I'm sure it's miserable.
I don't understand the question. That the Romulan ship was also sucked into the time warp, and their crew are also being slingshotted between different bodies in time. Kirk realizes that he's met at least one crew member from either ship during each jump. Believes that they are all somehow connected by the time warp.
Ian, I have to commend you. It's impressive that you can simulate the sound of somebody slipping down the stairs in mid-pronunciation.
Yeah, well, you know, it's a talent. It's a talent, and yeah, don't cross me.
It sounds like you're dropping several feet closer to sea level at the end of it.
Yeah, that's how it goes. He wonders if these bodies are really their own, if these are just... if these are their past or future lives, or if they are just inhabiting others' bodies temporarily. Kirk tells Derek about the concept of butterfly effect. Remember that movie, he said?
This is the verbal equivalent of a car wreck.
And states that their actions in these bodies may have an effect on the nature of the time warp. The more chaos they cause in these bodies, the worse it may get. Drek expresses regret for his actions in the neutral zone as his time in this current female form has taught him how to love and
Also, when you need to be refilled, because it sounds like you're deflating, just let us know. We brought the bike pump.
Kirk, the existence of these... Kirk, these ovaries have taught me how to love.
I named this one Bitey.
Kirk states that perhaps the key to fixing the time warp is by causing peace instead of chaos, by experiencing these lives as they are and going with the space-time flow. Direct stares deeply into Kirk's eyes and says, "It's a brilliant idea."
I've always wondered what a malfunctioning CPAP machine sounded like. Now I no longer have to wonder, Ian.
Listen, I'm good at this shit. What can I say? After this, the time warps begin to reverse as the crew finds themselves back in bodies they had previously inhabited. On the Klingon bird of prey, Scotty repairs the warp drive, allowing it to escape. On Vulcan, Spock and Uhura write up an agreement for how Spock will be raised. Spock will get dessert for dinner every night. He always gets to have chocolate ice cream for dinner.
And 3 hours of manimal.
Here's that other Simpsons reference. Will you at least raise them Christian? Coptic Christian. Oh.
And on Earth, Bones hitches a ride across the border to Tijuana and finally gets a fucking drink.
South of the border.
A final time warp occurs.
I like the idea that the person on Memory Beta who wrote this article is like really upset about it. It's like, when is Bones gonna get his drink?
Bones has been bone dry. We need him to wet his whistle.
This book has been having me on the edge of my seat. When is Bones gonna get his drink?
He stumbled around that convention center for 25 pages and he didn't get not one goddamn drink. A final time warp occurs. The crews of the Enterprise and the Romulan Warbird find themselves back in their ships at the moment just before the synchronicity cannon was fired. Both ships stand down and hail each other. Kirk and confirm that their plan must have worked. They both agree to stand down and leave the zone. Awkwardly thanks Kirk for the help and compliments his strong will before leaving. Uhura asks Kirk what happened between him and during the time warp. Kirk responds, some things are best left in the past. Or the future.
Oh, that's sorry, it's the wrong.
Were we both doing different parts of the same song?
Were you doing Back to the Future?
I was.
Oh, good. Maybe my son did send you that message. All right.
Background. Dwayne and Morwood wrote The Gates of Eternity's Precipice during a 3-week intensive marriage counseling retreat in Interlaken, Quebec. Dwayne stated in an interview for a retrospective.
Is this somebody's fictional thing?
Yeah. Yeah.
Were you not paying attention? God, Stevo!
Look, I just transferred to this school and like I'm really early in the first harem arc. I haven't even gotten one single senpai has noticed me. So
yeah, well,
give me a fucking break.
When they removed the glands for your cancer, they should have been more careful not to remove your fucking paying attention gland.
I did pay attention. Did you know that the last discovered mammalian organ was the parathyroid, and it was discovered in the Indian rhinoceros?
I didn't know that. Thank you, Stevo.
I paid attention exactly before they knocked me the fuck out. Ever since then, I haven't been the same.
This is a Star Trek novel made up by one of my patrons. And
that's perfect. I just needed to know that. I'm excited now.
Okay, now that we've read the entire summary.
I'm excited now that it's over.
No, it's good. That it means that I have a much clearer perspective. Honestly, I don't like going into movies after seeing previews. Give me a name and a genre. And usually that's good enough. Everything else I like to learn. So yeah, that was good. Nah.
The Last Tap Dance in Fresno. Comedy.
Oh man, that title gives away too much of the movie though.
Yeah, you would think, but it actually will surprise you.
Starring Adam Sandler.
I'm gonna tap dance on your forehead.
I'm gonna do a tap dance a little bit of doo-doo.
So Dwayne stated in an interview for a retrospective published in Wired magazine that the novel is the reason why they are still married. She also stated that many elements in the novel symbolize the specific details of her marital struggles and the fights she was having with her husband. However, she didn't say what those details were.
Obviously, it was the time traveling. Honey, would you please stop your fucking time traveling?
I'm just imagining Diane Duane and her husband is like they were Spock's parents.
You think they signed up for the PTA?
The authors and editor debated extensively over what was worth keeping in the final draft, leading to the novel being delayed by nearly a year. Kirk and Durak's argument in the opening scene originally lasted for 45 pages, with topics ranging from Romulan internal politics, which species in the Federation had the worst cuisine, and whether transcendental meditation was bullshit. The authors eventually agreed to cut it down to 10 pages after an unfavorable tarot card reading.
I'm dying! I'm okay.
When Pocketbook's copy editing team found out about the tarot card reading, they came to believe that the novel was cursed and refused to work on it. This was made worse when a homeless man overdosed on meth outside of their office, which they took as a bad omen. After failing to talk sense to the team, the CEO chartered a private jet to fly a pagan shaman from Eugene, Oregon to New York, who ritualistically cleansed the office. This took some turns. As revealed in a recent data breach at Simon & Schuster, Pocketbooks became increasingly protective of the novel's plot elements. From the book's publication to as recently as May 2022, Pocketbooks sent many cease and desist letters to various film students whose works so much as vaguely resemble the novel's plot points. Oddly, these letters were usually addressed to lead actors instead of writers or producers. Notable recipients include Scott Bakula for Quantum Leap, Chris Pine for Avengers Infinity War.
Oh, hey, Tim Allen!
Chris Pine wasn't in Avengers. Tim Allen for Galaxy Quest, and Michelle Yeoh for Everything Everywhere All at Once. It is believed that the letter sent to Chris Pine was intended to be addressed to Chris Evans. All of these recipients simply ignored the letters, and Pocketbooks never followed through with their threats of legal action. In December 2022, Simon & Schuster sent a cease and desist letter to the legal department at Pocketbook's successor label Gallery Books, its own subsidiary, to get to stop pestering actors. It remains to be seen if the letters will stop.
Oh, lovely. Yeah, it was, we got through some interesting topics this year. I was very impressed with the caliber of content that, you all also generated, patrons included. Oh my gosh, I didn't lose power. I didn't get, called by anybody. I made it to the end of the episode. Goodness gracious. Yay.
Oh, Stevo!
You got a little bit of doo-doo? I like how you giggle when somebody does that to you.
I'm expecting Stevo to periodically be getting voicemails from Ian now. Stevo, I'm gonna put a little bit of doo-doo in your voicemail.
Oh, Stevo, you gotta come on over and do a little bit of little Nicky doo-doo.
I'm regretting the massage I gave your voodoo doll.
I was doing the Adam
Did you
Sandler
just say
shit
voodoo or
before
did
I
you
had
say
energy.
doo-doo?
little bit of doo-doo.
All right,
now.
we're done. The joke is dead. We've killed it many times.
Okay, that's it for today. Thank you to everyone for listening. Please review us on whatever you're listening to us on. It doesn't have to be a good review. Any review is fine. If you're not sure what to write, just say these people are a bunch of doo-doos. I had to do one more, but
You can't even finish it yourself.
No, I can't. That was a bad take. I need to do that again.
Do it again.
Do it. If you're not sure what to say, just say these people are a bunch of doo-doos. Something like that.
He's gonna do this for the next 45 minutes. He's
We'll
gonna
fix it
do
in post.
enunciation exercises to nail the perfect doo-doo.
I too hope someday to nail the perfect doo-doo.
That was my favorite Nine Inch Nails album.
Nail the perfect doo-doo? Yeah, I loved it when Trent Reznor teamed up with Adam Sandler for that.
Just Adam Sandler just as a surprise appearance comes on stage and he hands him the mic and everyone's just like rocking out to Adam Sandler, just doing the voice of the guy from 8 Crazy Nights.
Oh, you mean Whitey? Listen, I saw that movie in the theater. I'm really sorry.
They just sidetrack in the middle of one of their songs into the "It's a Technical Foul" song.
That's a technical foul.
I was working in a theater when that movie came out, and
I think we've discussed this before. I have extremely fond memories of my viewing of that movie, and every subsequent viewing has been just as enjoyable, mostly because of the people I bring with me.
You're a monster, Stevo.
I did not watch the whole thing, or at least not all at once. I would just like whenever things were quiet, I would like peek in it, and every moment I watched of it just filled me with hate.
See, I was actually this is a pretty good closing thought, I guess, in general, if we're talking about 8 Crazy Nights. And that's a movie where you can tell somewhere, someone, or more than just one person along the line actually cared. The quality of animation on that deer shitting scene is obscene.
The animation is really good.
Like, it's stunning. Like, people got paid, and they should be proud of their work for this. It's just a shame it just resulted in 8 Crazy Nights.
Yeah.
Anyways, happy end of 2024.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Until next time.
Ah, shit. Oh my god, I fell asleep. I'm Big Mike, signing off. See y'all. D20 Live promo.
On New Year's Eve, Ian leaves me a message saying, "I'm really sorry the 2024 was so much doo-doo."
Maybe 2025 will be a little less of doo-doo.
Okay,
That's going into the episode.